Hello YouTube, Benny from the bedroom here, you guitar junkie. So, I was attempting to make a video of all three Agile guitars and play each one. And as I was watching the video back after editing the whole entire thing, I realized that I only played two out of the three. I actually picked up this one again. So instead of being a third one, I picked up this one. And yeah, so that's what happened. So let me play a little bit. I'm gonna have some dirt, and we'll talk about it. This is a Larry Carlton blues backing track, but because Gary Moore's my main hero, I tend to go off the rails. And the picture that I had that was behind the amp here that I moved to the wall, I actually took it off. I'm putting it in a frame because I actually have the pick that he was using in that photo playing the guitar, and I thought how tacky it was. Just I had it taped to the photo, and the photo got a little crinkled through moving a couple of times. So I took it off the wall, but maybe I'll show it to you when it's actually in a frame after I iron it. So you know the deal. Let's play some. I'll try to switch them off, and then I'll plug it in and talk about them. I don't know where to go on this one. Switcheroonie time. Just get up in there. Now you hear the difference between those pickups and these pickups. Different tone. The other ones are just way higher. We ended up down here. Let's start up there. See how I tried to for that. Again, the old switcheroony. This time I'll pick up the right guitar. Yeah. Before the backing track goes out. Because it's late at night. Right on, let's keep it up. Yeah. So, it's a little damp here. Had a little rain earlier. It affects my shoulder. And that's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it. So, being this is number 3, let me start with number 3 and work my way down. Once I untether. I got hooked on the Agile guitars. It's best if I don't look at it because it's in script and it's hard for me to read script and just go by memory. Now, the first video I had a little cheat sheet. The guy Kurt Zamora, I do believe, Rondo's Music, and I don't have the cheat sheet, so I don't remember the state. They started in 1959. In 1999, he started making these Agile guitars, handcrafted in North Korea. It says it on the back of every headstock. Started with the 2000 model, then he went up to the 2500, then the 3000, then the 3010, then the 3200. Somewhere between 2000 or 25 series, they changed the headstock, which I really dig the headstock. I like how it's black, like it's a ebony black headstock with the Agile, and it kind of looks pearlized on the front there, so that's super cool. all of them have different 60s, thin 60s style necks. Now on this particular model, this one here is a 3010. This one here, from the best that I could describe it, it's a thin C shape. Great for chords up here. And I'm not sure if it's a 42 or 43 millimeter nut. All I know is that I prefer 43 millimeter nuts on the heads, on the fingerboards, because I got big fat chunky fingers and I could play chords without my fingers bleeding into the other strings, and I could do finger picking without that, again, without that, you know, kind of buzzing. So that's on all of the guitars. They have a nice, you know, profile all the way down. I think most of the radiuses are between 12, 14, and 16. The best thing about it is you've got a real Grover tuners. You've got a what they call Graphtec, but it looks like it's graphite. That's even 10 times better in my opinion. Nut. You've got an ebony fingerboard. Yes, an ebony fingerboard. Did I say ebony fingerboard? Do you know what's my favorite fingerboard of all times on a guitar? Ebony. With abalone trapezoid inlays. Now, as you can see, it starts just like the original LP right here. I've got one that starts up here. I'll show you that one next. So, this one, basic 500K volume and tone pots, and they are hand soldered. No quick clip release on it. You've got a one-piece headstock and neck going into, or set into, a one-piece mahogany body. Sorry, three-piece. 1, 2, 3 from what I see. Now, the best part is that, from what I recall, they do put a real 1/4-inch maple top on here. This is a tiger maple. Now, it could be a cap, it could be a veneer. I don't really remember. Again, I made the video, I had everything written down so I could just glance over and give you all the information on all the guitars. And I threw it out. And I was just wanted to play back the video on my TV and see how it sounds. And then I realized I didn't even play this guitar. And I'm showing off 3 guitars from the title. So this has the, you know, these, I don't know what they call them, witch hat knobs, which I can't stand. They're too thin, and if they were coil taps, which they're not, these are like the worst in the world to try to, you know, split the pickup. I meant to say coil splits. People have a heart attack when they say coil tap, because you're splitting the pickup from a humbucker to a single coil, so you're not tapping it, you're splitting it. All right, calm down, people. Just relax. So, yeah, this is like your proper LP style guitar all the way around. So, I think these are pricey. I have to admit that they go for $500, $600, brand new, in change. It varies, and they go for about $400 to $500 used. So they hold their value, and you just got to shop around for them and find one. If you ever come across one in a store, like a big box store or something like that, pull it off the wall and start playing it, and you're going to be like, holy cow, this guitar is amazing. You know, so I love the color, and I wanted to, you know, because I have 2 other models. I wanted to try the 3010, and this was such a great deal. The other thing I failed to mention is that they have string savers on the saddle that almost look like they're graphite as well. And I tuned the guitar, I played a snot out of it, I almost bend the strings off the neck. And then I check the tuning again before I hang it back up, and I cannot knock them out of tune. even though I wish they had locking Grover tuners, only because I'm lazy and I don't want to wind them up. But yeah, this was my third one. And I don't remember the price. It was around the 400 realm, something like that. But worth every penny. I would say that the Agile guitars, pound for pound, and for what you get with an ebony fingerboard, I think they blow away any Epiphone, period. Unless you find another brand, there are other brands out there that are copycat LPs, single cuts, Les Pauls, whatever they want to call it, that are, you know, just as good. You might find some with stainless steel frets that, to me, just puts it over the top. You'll never find that on an Epiphone. So maybe the next step for this brand is to go with stainless steel frets in the future, right? Why not? These frets are great. That, I believe on the two out of the three, the medium jumbo. The second one I'm going to show you, they're jumbo. So ebony fingerboard and a real tiger maple top on here, and you heard the pickups. They sound great. You can't beat it. So yeah, I stuck a dragon. It's hard to see because it's black and the back is awfully dark. But I stuck a dragon on it to make sure that I never sell it, because again, what he had did with these, the guy was, like I said, from Rondo's, Kirk. When he started making them, one of the things is what he was doing is he was making the horn a deeper cut, so players can get down to the lower frets a lot easier, which I find that fantastic. And he also, this isn't the only style, he makes lots of different kinds of, any style you want. He's even making the guitars with the 7, 8, 9, 10 strings with the fan frets for metal players, for country players. You know, he's got it all. And it's an online business. I believe he had 2 buildings. He was thinking on getting rid of 1 building, but if you call there, you get a machine, you can leave a message, but he does communicate via email, and I left him an email, and then I called him, or I called him and then I left an email, and I had a reply within 5 minutes when I purchased my new guitar. So I bought this one used. This was my third one I bought, and I know it's gonna be a keeper. The second one I bought, which is actually really, oh, that's not it. This one here, I bought brand new. Now the first model that I bought was damn wide. I've said it in a video before. The neck was about that much wider, and much wider than a classical guitar neck, which I used to be accustomed to playing. And then when I was in a band for 10 years, and you know, all of our gigs were half original songs that I wrote and half, you know, cover tunes. And most of the cover tunes were Jimi Hendrix, and then some Rush, and you know, some Neil Young and stuff like that. And I started doing what, you know, everyone else was doing, and I started putting my thumb over the top of the fingerboard, over the top of the neck, I should say. And I got sloppy and I got lazy, and I felt I couldn't do that with the first one that I bought, identical to this with the wider neck. So he was, again, Kurt was really cool about it. I told him, you know, I just ordered the wrong one. I made a mistake. I got a full refund. I just had to pay for shipping to ship it back to him, which is totally fair because it was my fault. And then I got this one. Now, I think this one is, in time, going to be a collector, just like the other guitars, like the Lawsuit LPs that Japan was coming out with, and so on and so forth. And I'll tell you why. So on here you've got, again, you've got an ebony fingerboard. So you've got real Grover tuners. You've got a Graphtec, again, which I think it's a graphite nut with, and all of them are hand filed, hand polished frets, if I haven't said that already. This one, you could hear the pickups, they have that more classic rock sound to them. They're not as ballsy as this one that's like in turquoise, ebony, turquoise kind of bluish green. So this is ocean blue. So they're not as ballsy, but they still have that classic punch to them, which I like. And again, this is a proper quilted maple top on here, and the ocean blue. You can see this has the, looks like the vintage knobs, and I believe, yes, on this model they split the coil, which I don't need. Put a phaser in here where you could interphase how to phase the pickups when you put them in the middle. That's all. Give it that greeny moor kind of tone to it. I don't need to split, especially on the humbucker. But these, you know, again, they're Alnico pickups on their guitars. And again, most of the other information I have, I'm sorry, I threw it out. But what makes this guitar so unique is not only is it super thin, it's the thinnest out of the three. It's got a belly cut, and look at that. It's a 5-piece from head to toe, neck through design. So you've got, and it's almost like a flame maple on both sides of the top and the bottom of the neck. 2 walnut strips in the middle, maple again in the center, and going right through the guitar. And look at that cutaway, how smooth that is. You have a flute on here that, in my opinion, supports the headstock from snapping off the neck, and again, only in my opinion, gives you more sustain. You have a nice cutaway down here as well. So I believe in time that these are going to be somewhat collectible, because have you ever seen an LP that's a solid neck through design? No. So, and to compare it to this one, if you can see how much thinner it is compared to the blue one. Okay? So, yeah. And again, 500K pots in here. They do have the splittable tone pots, but it is hand wired. And all of them, if I haven't mentioned it before, the covers are shielded and the cavities are shielded. That to me is a big plus. You don't get that with Epiphone. You don't get half of the features on these guitars that you do with Epiphone, and it's still cheaper than Epiphone. And to me, it's 10 times better than Epiphone. So this is my first one that I traded a Fender amp for, Even Steven, and again, handcrafted in North Korea, real proper Grover tuners. You've got again Graphtec, which I think it's graphite. I'll keep on mentioning that. Again, the same thing with all of them. Those two have string savers. These are your regular stainless steel bridge on there. The other two have string savers, which look, like I said, like they're graphite or Graphtec. This one doesn't. But still, I can't knock this out of tune. The strings on this guitar are dead, because I got it used, and I've yet to change the strings, and they are Diodarios on here. I don't believe, I don't know if they come with Diodarios or not. Yes, so these are Diodarios. So I believe from the factory they come with Diodarios. Let me get rid of that strap. I keep on fighting with it. So, yeah, these are probably the original strings from the guitar. I'm not sure what year this is, but the strings are dead. They're toast. They're roast. They're rotted away, but it still plays great. So on here, and again, if I didn't mention it, you could see the trapezoid on the top. That light blue, and was it this one? Nope. And this one here have blonde streaks in the ebony. Now some places tend to dye the fretboard when they see that. I guess they're not aware that in the 80s when you found a guitar that was ebony, and I've said it on a couple of videos, I had a Kramer, solid, you know, it looked like it was a solid neck through. It could have been, or it could have just been glued on with a nice round curve. And that had an ebony fingerboard, and it had the blonde streaks, and that made that guitar rare. So sometimes when you see that, that's just a plus. Some manufacturers, when they see that, they tend to dye the fingerboard to make it black, so you don't see that, so that you're not under the impression that it's not ebony. And you know when they dye it, because when you play it, your fingers get black. So I haven't had that issue with the brand new guitar, but which, by the way, when it came out of the box, it was like just slightly off from being tuned to an E. The intonation was set spot on. I didn't have to adjust the neck. I didn't have to deal with the nut. Everything was perfect. So again, pound for pound, I put this up against an Epiphone. It'll blow an Epiphone away any day, any time. You have your one-piece neck and set in body. Again, I believe it is a 3-piece mahogany back. It's really hard to tell. Yeah, it looks like 3 pieces. And I just stuck the dragon on it to make sure that I never sell it, because I think these are great. Again, I mentioned these pickups, they're screaming pickups. They're like the Super Distortion pickups when they first came out in the 80s. You buy a Super Distortion pickup now from Damasio, and they don't sound the same, in my opinion. And again, there's no splittable, pickups on here. And I just changed the knobs because I like fatter knobs, and I think the black ones that I took off were a lot like the ones I just showed you on the aquamarine guitar, where they were like the witch hats. I don't like that. I like these. Plus they kind of offset. They look good. And this thing here is a real quilted maple top on here. So again, ebony fingerboard, trapezoid inlays, Grover tuners. You can't beat it. These things, they're $500-600 new. Some a little bit more. I'm eyeballing the one with the Floyd Rose, because I used to always be a Floyd Rose guy with all my Strats, and I'm eyeballing that big time. So, like I said, I went down a rabbit hole on the LPs. I don't even have a Strat hanging on the wall anymore. All LPs. But I'm going to rehab, and I have a sponsor, and on the sponsor is on this side of the shoulder, it's saying buy, 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 and the sponsor on this side of the shoulder is saying, you fool, you got enough, Stop it. Calm down. Take a break. Take a chill pill. So I'm dealing with that. Yeah, dealing with that argument every day. But again, so yeah, fantastic instruments, handcrafted. You can't find anything wrong with them. They feel and play and sound like a real Gibson. I put a black bag over the head stock and handed this to a purist USA Gibson snob. I guarantee he would not know the difference. So, and pound for pound, you know, these are still holding their value, 4 to 500 on the street used. So what does that tell you? So why spend more money on an Epiphone when you're just spending more money for the name? Just like the guys that have to have a USA made Gibson, you know, those are the guys that have crazy FU money, and most of them are professionals, like, you know, doctors or lawyers or actors. Like one of the actors that bought one of the Greenie Moores that came out limited edition for $50K, and I guarantee he doesn't even know how to play guitar, but he had to have one. And because of people like that, Gibson keeps on going, and they you know, they make a fortune. So I love my two Epiphones. Don't get me wrong, I'm not downing the Epiphones, but when you compare them, the way they piece these Epiphones together, you know, with shims here and blocks here, and the head is attached to the neck, and the neck is attached to the body with a little shim piece of wood here, and then you have, you know, whatever, you know, a veneer instead of a real tiger maple or quilted maple cap on the guitars. It's kind of, you know, I don't know. To me, it's not worth it. And I apologize. I didn't put the mic on. I'm just having a great day. So thanks for watching, everyone. I appreciate it. I hope you heard what I had to say. I was afraid, by the way, because I didn't charge the mic, that it was going to go out. So we'll see how this turns out. Have a nice day, and a better tomorrow.